Ah. Boards. Board games, board games, it's what we're talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. We are starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and over there, beside me, there is Alan Outten with a doggy diz. And Alan Outten is programming. Alan Outten is doing programming, whereas me, I find programming frustrating. But I am happy that someone finds something that I enjoy, conversely fun. Board games, it's what I'm talking about. Board games and programming, Alphabetickell and BGA. We're not gonna shout, hey! Oh man!
Go down there. Good
Hello,
morning.
Xate. Wow, do you see the stream of comments from Xate? This is vicious. Has the 10:01 show started yet? I think you should officially change the time to 10:01. Uh-oh, it's 10:02. This is how you get negative comments and thumbs down on YouTube. Okay, I think I should go to YouTube and do negative comments and thumbs down. Hi, Alan. Yes, today it was my fault. But anyway, I am Bez. It is bedtime in New Zealand. We are blethering about board games, and today we are blethering about Alphabetickell on... Oops, I didn't mean to do it that way. Alphabetickell on Board Game Arena. It is super exciting. And so do you have, something that we're going to be able to play that I can see?
Morning, yes, I do. I got it ready about 3 o'clock last night.
Exciting.
So, yes, so there is something. It's not the perfect version by any means, but enough that you get a sense of how you would likely play it and how it would work and what it would look like. So yeah, something we can have a play with.
I'm going to have to do the work out how to log in. So, those numbers that you gave me are my email and password, or is that for, or do I need to?
So yeah, the link, then the username is that one, top one, and then the last one is the password.
Okay, so yeah, this is exciting times. I'm going to not show those numbers, but I'm going to share my screen once I manage to get in. Oh, wished. Okay, so apparently, we'll share my screen. Hello, Jess. It's lovely to see you. And this is what Alan Outten is showing me today.
Morning, Jess. So I've just landed.
From Mars, apparently.
Yeah, well, the moon.
And is the page section at the start of this page is too long. So
let me log in as well and see what we can do.
But anyway, basically what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about Alphabetickell, because Alan has been programming Alphabetickell for Board Game Arena, which is super exciting. And then we're also going to be talking about a little bit about Bezel and Alan's experience as part of the LDEC design competition. And yeah, we're still getting, the, brilliant thing and whatnot that you all love. So don't worry, we're about to go to the brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant?
I know you've done pens, and I know you've done pencils, but have you done the combined pen and pencil? This is the BIC. You know what I can write on? I'll write on something where you can't see the password. Pencil, and by magic, pen. I mean, come on, is that not brilliant?
That's pretty brilliant. I mean,
even having to change it.
What's the advantage over a combination thing compared to just having two of them?
Well, you only need one. It takes
so it's
less
about
room. It's about the technology. Look at this thing. Look how much. Look how many different bits of there are. Bits of plastic, engineered metal, springs, ink.
So really, the brilliant thing is not this pen-pencil combination in and of itself, but the technology and ingenuity that went into it.
Absolutely, yes. Very impressive, I think.
Okay.
Mr. Bick.
So yeah, this is I'm all about. I can understand, with a smartphone, yeah, having a camera, I'm not going to carry a digital SLR with me all around the place. But with a phone, I can just stop and take some photos of some flowers that I see, or a squirrel if I see it in the park, and the squirrel standing still long enough for me to get out my phone and take the picture, which quite often they're just running all around the place, and so you see them with your eyes but not with the things. So yeah, it's I can totally get behind combining things. If you want a better version of a pencil, if you are someone who wants pens and pencils, maybe if you're being a bit more artistic with them, I think you probably want specialized things. But I think that we can all get behind the technology and combinations of things when it kind of means that, hey, it's like sometimes a jack of all trades is exactly what you want. So there we go.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there we go.
I love it too.
Let's talk about, and here we encourage everyone to join in. If you're watching, got in the comments, just tell us about your recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights. I have played 3 games yesterday. I played a couple of games with the Blinks, which I unboxed on Sunday, I want to say. The games that I played with the Blinks, frankly, I was a wee bit disappointed. I played this game, Puzzle 101. It wasn't much of a puzzle. Like each one, once I could see it, it was like, okay, it's like level 5 of a, like if it was one of these proper kinds of puzzles where you've got like 110 versions, I would imagine, okay, this is level 5 or something. It was too easy. There's no way to increase the difficulty level of the puzzle, so it's more of a diversion rather than something that you can really get into. I would have liked it. There's no technology even to use more than 6 blinks. That seemed a bit rubbish. And I know from Tantrix that as you add more and more pieces, it can be really challenging. So I would have preferred playing Tantrix, frankly. And then I played this other game, and the other thing I do want to note is that you do need to play it when it's fairly dark. Like today would be fine, but yesterday in the middle of the afternoon was a little bit too bright to be able to see the lights properly. That was a wee bit disappointing. We also played Balanceable a couple of times. I think, yeah, I came joint first once, and then I won the second game, and we had myself, Jessica, and Tom Cauldron there, and Neko-chan joined in the second game. There were a bunch of people chatting along. I think I enjoy Balanceable out of the multiplayer online LDEC games right now, the ones that we can play via video chat, because for me, the combination of going forwards and backwards and balancing your 2 longest words, there's something unique there. And I like to think, okay, there's no actual theoretical maximum score. Well, I guess the theoretical maximum score would be about 20 if you manage to get to 10. No, actually, you could get 11. And yeah, so the theoretical maximum is 21. But it's so far beyond our ability that it feels like, wow, getting 15, I feel really good about myself. Getting 16, I'm triumphant. And so that was nice. Also, I want to give a shout out to my minor achievement. This morning, I managed to draw all the letters except for the 8 that had already drawn. So I managed to draw 18 of the letters, and Chris is right now putting them into the Categorical deck, which is quite exciting. So those are my recent highlights. What about you, Alan?
Well, can you see behind? There's some balloons. It's not my 81st. It's my middle son's 18th birthday today.
Ooh,
so that's a bit of a
nice.
highlight. Although I heard him come in at 3 o'clock this morning, so I don't think we'll be celebrating until probably this afternoon at the earliest. But yeah, that will be a highlight. It sort of is already.
That sounds lovely. And Jess went to a comedy night where it was women like on stage, and it was very funny. Hello, Alex. It's lovely to see you.
Morning, Alex.
And Xate says that they like your voice, and that's one of the recent highlights. I'm going to say it says.
Aww.
Congratulations to your son, says Jess. And yeah.
Thank you.
Man, Xate, you're the person turning it all
I reckon
sexual.
he's about, yeah, another 18 years before he leaves home, but we're getting there.
So, if anyone else has any recent highlights that they wish to tell us about, then please do so now, or do so along the way. It's up to you, but I won't flash it up necessarily later on, but I will enjoy reading it. But, yeah, we've got Espresso came in the mail. Lovely. Wow, so I'm assuming like how does this work? Like, is it some sort of packet?
You get very wet.
How does this work? Is it like a little cup and then I'm very confused. Explain to us. Okay, let's move on to the questionably quick questions. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Where exactly are you and what time is it?
I am in my living room. It is 14 minutes past 10. My living room is in Ealing, which is in West London, a very beautiful part of the world. I was born here, just up the road where my mum still lives.
So do you prefer conkers or pine cones, asks Jess.
Ooh, I have a lot more conkers near me. We don't have many pine cones. I was looking for a pine cone the other day because I want to try and grow a pine tree from a pine cone, but not so many around. Lots of actually not that many conkers this year. Definitely a lack of conkers. Lots of acorns I've noticed. Loads and loads of acorns.
Did you play with conkers as a child? And
yeah,
did you have any, devious tactics like pickling them in vinegar or putting varnish on them or anything like that?
I would usually just hit my brothers on the head with them. That tends to do the trick.
So it's all about the targeting. It's all about the precision.
Yes, yeah. Obviously complete by accident, but yeah, you got to make them scared.
And for those who don't know what conkers are, how would you quickly describe them?
Horse chestnut.
And there's a game, I think it's primarily in the UK, where they play this game where they tie them onto bits of strings and then you hit each other's conkers until one of them smashes.
Yes, you can pickle them in vinegar to make them go really hard.
What I used to do is I would varnish it and then wait a while and then put another coat of varnish and wait a while and then keep on putting varnish.
On. That's definitely cheating.
Like, there was a kind of league in our school where it was basically anything goes.
So I could put mine, sort of set it around concrete.
I don't know. Like, if you can... Yeah. I don't know where the line was. Maybe the rules weren't specific enough.
Okay.
What's your best ranking in backgammon? Asks Xate.
Oh, I got to, on Board Game Arena, 3rd so far. 3rd. But it's very easy to fluctuate. A few games that don't go well and you'll be down to the 100th. And then you have to crawl your way back up. And I've got about 4 accounts on Board Game Arena, and I reckon I've played now 1,000 games of backgammon in the last few months.
Wow.
I'm very addicted to it. So it's great. Yeah, I love it.
That's astounding to me. I mean, so what keeps you coming back to backgammon?
I think it's got it all. I think it's very simple to learn, which I think is always massively important to me. And I think there's enough luck in it. So it's that right level of luck that I think just about works. And I know I can notice my emotions, how excited you are playing it when it goes well, how upset I and other people get when it doesn't go so well. You know, and people moan, "Oh, you're so lucky," or how can you be so lucky? And it's like, well, come on, it's dice. What do you expect? But I think it's nice. Yeah, I love it. Very simple, quick game. Definitely my favorite at the moment.
I mean, Xates wants to be able to claim that they are ranked second because they beat you a few times.
Yeah, I didn't let Zate win, but yeah, you can't always win. No matter how good you are, you cannot always win at backgammon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Aqua Ulis says Richard Garfield used it as an example of high luck, high skill game. I didn't hear that being used as a particular example, but that is a perfect example. I know Richard Garfield's their go-to example, I believe, was poker of high luck and high skill. I want to ask, would you say that backgammon is potentially your favorite ever game?
On Board Game Arena, definitely.
Okay, so a couple of questions from chat. If you had to either wallpaper a room using all your cards from games or use only pieces of wallpaper as cards for a year, which would you pick?
I haven't got any wallpaper, but I think the second one, I quite like the idea of bits of wallpaper as cards. It sounds quite fun. Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming that you're allowed to write or draw on this wallpaper, or maybe you're not. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe you're only allowed to.
Is it wallpaper that's made up of? It's got a pattern, a repeating pattern of cards, game cards.
I'm assuming that it's just
like a William
normal
Morris
bits of paper.
Can I design it? Can I design the wallpaper
before I? Basically, you're not allowed to play any cards games. So I think Xates is saying that you're not allowed to use the L deck. You're not allowed to.
Well, what's wrong with L deck wallpaper?
It doesn't exist yet.
Well, we make it. Then we cut it up.
Basic house wallpaper, you can choose any from a wallpaper shop. Okay. So you can't go out and get custom wallpaper.
Okay. But I can write on the back of it.
I'm going to say no.
What do you mean I can't know? That's not written down.
Well, you asked the question. I'm saying no. You can't write on the.
Can I laminate it? Can I put it in sleeves?
Yeah, you can put it in sleeves, but you can't add any decoration or information onto it. So it's just brightly coloured card.
Then I will stick all of my cards on the wall. Thanks.
Oh man, this sounds like a really harsh question. What was your first ever pet?
Oh. My first pet was at home. We had a Yorkshire Terrier called Dandy. And that's probably given away my passwords to half of my accounts. Thanks, Jess.
Is your favourite game pedantry?
Might be. Answer that. I don't know.
And I don't think you need to answer these ones either. Are you the oldest out of all of your siblings?
No, I'm number 4 of 6. So there's 2 years between me and my older sister, 2 years to my brother above, and 2 years to my oldest brother. And then there's a big gap of about 6 years, and then another 6 years between the 2 younger ones. So yeah, quite a range. 6,
and the penultimate question that I'm going to ask, unless anyone has any to chime in with, is one from Alex. Would you prefer to have a meatball-sized duck or a duck-sized meatball?
I don't want either. I don't want. Well, look, a duck-sized meeple is just absolutely the most horrific thing ever, because I don't like meeples. So, yeah, I'm going to have a meeple-sized duck. But it would be a plastic figurine-sized duck, obviously.
Jess asks if you've ever missed a flight.
Yes, once by 23 hours. Yeah,
so you got the date.
Yeah.
Is that because you saw 1 a.m. or something like that, and you thought, okay, this is the previous?
Yeah, I don't know. It was in New Zealand. Oh. It might have been when the times had changed or something. Or to be honest, I wasn't really thinking about dates. So yeah, one of those things.
And I hear you've been telling Jess that you've had a trip to Mars.
Yes, definitely. Yes, okay. It was cold, then it was really hot, then really cold again, then really hot, and sort of reddish.
And in all seriousness, can you tell us, in as much information as you would like, a typical day for you recently?
So if I'm doing some work, I tend to wake up about 7:30. That seems to have been a standard time for me since I was very young. Probably won't have breakfast until, I don't know, 10, 11, something like that. So I might go out into the garden if it's a nice day, sit. I love my garden, so I might go and sit there for a while. I have a special secret garden that I don't tell anyone about, and I might just go and enjoy the morning there for a few minutes. Come and sit at my desk, which I'm at now in the living room. It's very convenient because when I want to eat, I just turn around and the dining table is right behind me, so I can just swivel on my chair and I can eat my breakfast. So yeah, so I'll stay here. I walk the dog usually around about 1:30. He's sitting here asleep right next to me. And yeah, watch a lot of TV in the evenings, I think.
That sounds super lovely. And so, yeah, Jess likes your balloon. And Xate asks, why were you missing so long?
I had work to do, things to do, people to see.
We missed you, Alan. We missed you.
Not very good at hearts. There you go.
That's a pretty good heart. Okay, fine. This is the final question I'm going to flag up. What's your favourite show? Do you watch Doc Martin?
No. No. I'm not a big ITV person. I watched The Third Day last night, which was on Sky or Now TV. Bit weird, bit like a mixture of Lost and The Wicker Man. If you've ever seen either of those. Yeah, we tend to watch films mostly if I can. So yeah, Netflix is great.
Yeah, it sure is, the amounts of stuff that you can get on there. Now, as we move into the main topic about programming and a wee bit about the LDEC design competition, let's me remind people to feel free to comment, chat amongst yourselves, ask questions, fun like follow, all that good stuff. And also a small announcement that Bez and Friends Game Day will return in January. And so if you're not already on the Discord, go there. And yeah, so today, as I said about 20 minutes ago, you've been working on a Board Game Arena implementation of Alphabetickell. And the plan is for us to, if we can, play it and chat about the development process so far.
Well, to be more accurate, I should have been developing it, but I've been playing backgammon a lot on Board Game Arena. That's the truth. Let's be honest. 1,000 games does take a while, but I did get some done yesterday. So yeah, we can have a play.
And there might be some tangents. And one thing that I do want to ask you about, which I know you weren't wanting to make this the main focus of the show, But you did submit a game to the LDEC design contest. It was Bezel. It had some nice ideas of coming up with brilliant things and being like, okay, it was almost had aspects of Dixit, of thinking, okay, what brilliant things are other people thinking of? What cards are other people going for? And at the time when I played it, I felt it was, in summary, a bit too complicated for what it was trying to be, and it needed a lot of refinement. But how was that experience for you entering it? What were your expectations going into it? And yeah, can we go through it chronologically?
Yeah, it was a while back, and I don't have a great memory, but I mean, I thought the name on its own was enough to win it. I didn't think I actually had to put any more work into it and just come up with the name Bezel. I mean, surely that's worth a win on its own, isn't it? Didn't actually have to have any mechanics or anything useful. So I thought, oh well, you need something there. So I came up with something. I think Dodals. I don't know Dixit that well, but I think Dodals was one of the things that you had talked about, and I've got a copy of that. And I thought, oh, you know, how do we do it from a sort of a drawing type of approach rather than a sculpting, and how might it work within the constraints of the LDEC? So, you know, using those two things as the sort of starting point, you know, came up with Bezel. Of course, it had the first thing to take as well as inspiration from yourself was the idea of a brilliant thing. So how do you create a brilliant thing using the LDEC? Well, you use the letters and you come up with something, you know, there's various ways to do it. Maybe in terms of being too complicated, there are too many ways in which you can come up with brilliant things. So yeah, we could have gone very simple with that. But the idea is you take a card, you see the letters that inspires you to come up with a brilliant thing. If you have to have at least 3 players, one of the players in their turn will draw that brilliant thing that they've come up with. So it sort of was from there, well, how can you get a game out of that? How can you make it be game-like? So the idea was that you don't want to draw something too perfect, but you want to be able to inspire someone to maybe get what you had come up with without everyone coming up with it. So again, that's the sort of, I guess, the key mechanic of Dodals, if that's the right term. And so that's what I tried to do. I can see it was certainly not perfect. I thought it was enough there to be interesting and intriguing, enough that it may sort of, you know, be taken on and developed. I guess my sense was I was a bit surprised how the testable and the play testing side of it did work. So I was, you know, I did watch the video of you doing the play test, which was great to have that openness and transparency, and I was all for that. But yeah, it felt maybe a little bit too harsh. So, oh, you know, I'd come up with something that I thought was fun and a good start, and that was it really. So then for it to be, in a way, critiqued, I thought, oh, that could have been done maybe a little bit differently or approached in a different way that I wasn't completely prepared for. So that was my feedback on your feedback. But yeah, I think it was enjoyable. I didn't spend a great deal of time on it, but yeah, I think there's a core of something there that could be developed. I think after that, I had a thought, and I thought, well, I can make it even more complicated. So I was thinking about how I could bring the Monty Hall problem into the game as well. And so I've got another version since that combines the drawing with the Monty Hall problem. You know that one?
Yes, where, okay, you choose one of 3 doors, well, one of 3 objects. It doesn't need to be doors. And essentially there's 1 out of the 3 objects that you particularly want. And then at that point, the presenter says, okay, I'm going to reveal that one of the other 2 doors was one of the objects that you want. Let's say there's goats and cars, which is a stereotypical thing, although it might be that you really want the goats. But for the purposes of this problem, we're assuming you want the car and not the goats. I mean, it would be better to call it cars and poop, because then it's clear. No one wants the poop. I mean, some people really want the goat, though. But anyway, they say, okay, here's the poop behind one of the other doors. Now the question is, do you switch or do you not? And mathematically, instinctively, you think, well, it doesn't matter. It's still 1/3 probability. But the truth is that you've taken away that chance. So it's actually massively advantageous to switch, which is an interesting thing. I know that John Brieger was working on a game called Door Number 3. Hearing what was going through your mind about adding the Monty Hall problem to what already felt like a game with a lot going on, because there was also quite a complicated scoring system, I seem to remember.
Well, I think the Monty Hall route was to try and reduce that scoring.
Okay.
So that was the next version, was around how that might assist more than even more complicate the scoring.
Okay, interesting. So honestly, I mean, the last thing I want to do is to turn away people from the notion of, hey, I've got a quick idea, I want to submit it and see what Bez thinks. And I want everyone to feel able and willing to do that. And I would like people to feel like, okay, I got some benefit by showing it off, and Bez gave their opinion, Chris and, you know, whoever Bez is playing with, if we do another stream of that next year, which seems like, yeah, why not? It's a good way to show it and show what's going on behind the scenes, and to share, okay, this is what's going on here. I would like to be honest. I would like to give that negative criticism if there is some, but at the same time, I would hate to turn people away. So
yeah, totally, it's a very difficult problem to solve, because you're going to get contestants or entrants that have put a lot of work into it and want it to be done. Maybe there was a way of me communicating that I'm not too serious about the game, it's not finished. Have it as a starting point for maybe a different route through to a potentially finished LDEC game, rather than it's going up games that are more complete, and I've done a lot more play testing and versions and all the rest of it. So yeah, I think maybe that's something that I could have communicated as well.
I mean, it's difficult because even though in the section I have how complete is this game, how much testing have you done, for someone who might have not done any testing, but they are an accomplished designer, they're going to probably even want harsher feedback to say, okay, these are the actual issues with this. And from their perspective, it might be like, okay, brilliant, I get, that first playtest, and for them that's but if they come to it and it's never been playtested, it's not that likely to win, let's be honest. And it's a difficult thing because I do want to it is all about what would be the best L game given a little bit of development, but it's also about how, when I see this, it's okay, what's the next steps that I would take to make it stand up alongside Wibble, Alphabetickell, Grabble, Couple, Phrasal, Fable, what am I missing? Mickle, Puzzle, Categorical. Anyway, the first 9. And it's like, how do I make it good enough so that it's standing up alongside them, or even better, hopefully in several ways? And it's like, what does the best version of this game look like? And for some of the games, I think there's basically none of the games that haven't been tweaked at least a bit from when they were submitted to when I'm now rewriting the rules. And so that probably speaks to the fact that even though you can submit something and playtest it 20, 30, whatever times. When you give it to someone else, they're going to see things that you didn't spot. But the closer that you're able to get it to something that you're proud of, the easier it is to take it and make it something even better. But then at the same time, I do want to encourage, people to do like, okay, here's just a really cool idea, and this can spark something. And I don't want, and maybe, I don't know, like maybe there's a space for,
I like a bit like a sandpit version for people who may not have gone through that process before or be clear about how you develop a game.
I mean, I think the other thing to note is that even though this is the contest, you are allowed to show me games for the L deck anytime you want. I would say probably not right now, probably not until January, but like from January to August, if you want to show me your other L games, then that's totally fine, and I'll look at it and I'll be delighted to ponder it and consider it, give you some sort of initial feedback. But especially in the day and age of meeting people in real life, because I met Jeremy Outten, Jeremy, sorry. Anyway, so I met one person whose game was unfortunately also removed from consideration at this point. But chatting to them about, okay, here's some things to try. Have you considered this idea? And then they made a bunch of changes, and just having that chat, I think, helped them along the way, because this is their first ever game. And even though it doesn't mean that they are suddenly able to make a brilliant game with my input, hopefully it's a little bit of guidance, I don't know. And it's a thing where I would really like to, there's two aspects to it. Firstly, I want to have a really good core headline game each year. And secondly, I do want to be, here's some people who are making things, and it's lovely things, and let's encourage those things. And maybe even someone submits an idea, and maybe Bezel, that notion of coming up with a brilliant thing, it might pop up in another game that you make or I make or someone else makes in a couple of years. But it's not even necessarily a direct thread, you know what I mean? And so it's just this big hotbed of, there are these exciting ideas, and let's play with them a little bit more. Maybe that should be a bit more encouraged in the early days. And maybe I say, okay, judges, you're not allowed to join this kind of hot testing thing, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Could be part of the Discord, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And has it finished yet? Are you still doing the competition?
Yes. So say it continues to ask, but it's like, especially given the fact that testing is a bit harder these days than normal. My deadline, I'm basically going to rewrite all the rules this month. Then I'm going to send it out to Tom Cauldron, Andrew Dennison, Jason Hodgson, David Brain, Paul Mansfield. Have I said Tom Cauldron already? 6 people and myself. We will all play them as much as we can, which unfortunately does mean that Deathknell might not be played, because we might have difficulty getting 4 people together. I will play at least one more time this year, but that is probably just going to be a really difficult thing for Deathknell. And then each month we'll kind of try and cut out about half of them, until in December we're like, okay, these are the 2 best games, and we'll just focus on playing these 2 quite a lot and see which one overall we decide is the best, with a whole bunch of discussion around it.
Cool. But you're excited. There's definitely a strong one or more candidates for the 10th LDEC game.
I think there is at least one game there that, if this were the headline game, I would be very happy with it. Last year, I don't know if there was this year. It's also what player count do you make these things suitable for? Because if it's a 2 to 4 player game, well, you need to play it with all those player counts. If it's a 4 to 8 player game, then you can't say, okay, we've played it with 4, hey presto, then we need to properly play it. And so, yeah. No games have been, it's still the 9 that I mentioned. Those 9 have just been continued to be played. But yeah, we will talk about them later. Anyway, so, and we could probably have maybe at some point a big post-LDEC ceremony with, like, you know, everyone just kind of coming on all. That might be too many people. Yeah, I guess it would have. Yeah, I think only 9 people entered, so that would just work because there's a 10-person maximum, which is really weird because when you've got 10 people, it's 3, 3, 3, 1. Why not just add it to 12? That's a weird decision on StreamYard's choice, don't you think?
Cut it down to 8, then with you, it would fit really nicely.
Okay. Anyway, let's get. Do you want to talk about your tiny websites at all?
No.
Okay.
It's very small. I made it in 2003. It was very popular. I think I had over 1 million unique visits in its first year. And it probably has to come down now because a lot of it is in Flash. And as we all know, Flash isn't really a thing anymore. And I think even some of the main browsers are stopping Flash completely later this year. So if you want to play some games on it, do it before the end of the year. Well, I loved it. I loved doing it. It was very super quick to build, as you would imagine something that small is. My inspiration for doing it in the first place was that I think in the old days we had such rubbish monitors, but you could never see anything. And then I finally got a half decent monitor where you could actually start to see the individual pixels. Have you made it smaller?
No, that's just the way it says.
That's the Flash. You probably haven't got Flash installed.
Yeah, I think I need to go back to the HTML version,
do the HTML
which doesn't have any games, sadly. And you can sort of see, if you look careful, there we go, art. I like this one. Some like wee pixel art. And yeah, so this is the world's smallest website. It is pretty cool. I saw this before. I think I saw this before I knew who you were, before I ever met you.
It was popular because people, yeah, in the good old days of the web, it was definitely one of the things that people would read about or see a link to it.
Is it mobile friendly?
No, because to be honest, it was before the mobile. So as you can imagine, you don't get many mobiles with Flash these days. So yeah,
but you've got the
and it's rubbish because you would need a mouse. You can't use your finger.
You're not like GU Imp.
My finger's bigger than the whole thing.
I'm really tempted. I'm going to chat. I'm going to look it up. GUimp.com.
Yeah, so it's GUI Imp. GUI is.
How did you come up with this name? What's this all about?
So GUI is graphical user interface, and then Imp was very small. So, but it is pronounced GIMP, and GUIMP is a word, and it's a very frilly type of lace that you get around the edge of dresses, around the collar. So it is a real word. So yeah, seems suitable.
I need to kind of enlarge it because it's too small even for the mobile. So blog. Oh, yep. It can run on the. It's not mobile friendly, but it is possible to run on the mobile.
Yes, I agree.
So that is the world's smallest website that you can just about see on that screen behind that expanse of dark purplish blue. It's a nice color. Do you know offhand what hexadecimal code this is?
If I was to guess, it would be A04242, but maybe not.
Oh, I was expecting it to be in the HTML code.
Well, that is the HTML code.
I mean, I was expecting the background color to.
No, no, there's probably a CSS file if you want me to really go and look for it.
Nah, we're not that fast. A04242. Is that because it's Alan Outten? That makes sense. Okay, let's talk about what everyone's here to hear about. Let's do this. Okay, how do we do this, Alan?
Right, so let me start a new game. Oh, you've already got 3 going, but let me create another one.
Oh, I mean, I probably should.
Yeah, forget that one. Let's see what happens.
I am a web developer fluent in server-side PHP SQL. No, that's not true.
Yes, I didn't write that.
Yeah, but
oh, you are.
It says you are a web developer fluent in server-side PHP SQL and client-side languages.
If you click on the bit that says this is your turn on 3 tables.
Should I click on 3 tables?
Click on 3 tables. One of those is the right one.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Exciting.
No, that's a different game. Close that one. So if you go to the hamburger menu.
The hamburger. Oh, you mean this
thing on the right? Express stop.
Oh, there was a fancy noise.
Try another one.
Propose a rematch?
No, go up to 3 tables again. Try the one that just started.
All of the games in progress are yours.
Yeah, just say the middle one. Game started 1 minute ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I've got.
This is your first game, apparently. Okay.
So what you've got here, this is not the complete alphabetical, so you don't get, at the moment, the 3 initial cards in your hand that you seed from. So that's still to be done. The passing cards is still a bit in development. So what you can do, if we start off, if you don't like that card, you can pass on it. If you want a starting card that you like, so you could
So I don't get my initial hand?
Not at the moment, no, because we haven't. I have got that bit of initial hand code, but it's not linked into this particular version. So you can either take the SB, or you can pass, and then I can. Okay, you've got the SB. So I've now got an OF, and I don't think an OF is a pretty good one. So I will take that.
So I'm choosing this one to.
Yeah.
Oh man. I should have gone with the N. That was a terrible decision.
Oh, so you passed on it?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well,
so
I don't want that.
ON should have.
Well, no, we can't.
You should have been offered you ON.
Ah, no. In this version, I didn't want to do that bit of passing, because otherwise we just keep. Basically, I haven't got that bit going yet. So at the moment, we would be forced. In this, it's not the complete alphabetical, but you get the idea. So I don't want that one, so I'm going to pass on that, and you don't get it either.
Okay, so in this version, if I don't get it, it loses the bit of
yeah, the other person doesn't get it either.
The other person.
Yeah. You probably don't want that one either.
And when does the game end in this version? Does it still have the...
I don't know. We could try it. You going to pass on that one?
Well, I'm waiting for you.
Oh, well, I might as well take that one, and I will take that one. O-S. O is better than F, isn't it? O-P-Q-R-S. Oh, go on then.
Oh, I'll put it to the right.
Ooh, so you've got the BD.
Yeah, it's a bit early in the alphabet, but yeah.
Yeah, and the M is good.
Hmm?
I've got MOS at the moment. And you've got ABD. So you're only going to the right from now on.
Indeed I am.
And I'm going to go to the left.
So presumably now, what happens if I say going left?
Well, there's nothing to stop you because at the moment it doesn't restrict you.
Okay.
So that's on the to-do list of things. So you've hang on, well, you've cheated now.
Only because you're
oh, you thought it wasn't going to allow you. Okay, we'll ignore the EY. I'll take the B.
And just to answer Xates, I know that ultimately you are showing in the Alphabetickell Facebook group that you're going to sort of white out some of the things.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of things to do to get it up to the final version, but I thought it was good to, and to be honest, this was a late night bit of coding to get it to this point. So yeah, there's you know, you can get a feel of how it would work on Board Game Arena. I'll take the W.
Yeah, I'm confused by when it's going to end, because you've definitely passed more than 4 cards. I've got a feeling this might never end.
No, it won't. This version won't. We're just sort of using it in a way to play a version without too much restrictions or rules.
It's really cool seeing this in the format, to see like the actual cards and the art, and even though there's for sure a lot of work to do in terms of aligning them and enforcing the rules, which is part of what Board Game Arena is about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm happy with it going. I do like Board Game Arena, how they've structured the platform for developing games. There's a lot of clever things in it, particularly if you use cards. There's some really nice features that make it very easy, relatively easy to produce a game on it. As you'd imagine, there's a lot more complexity in general to it than say something like Tabletopia, because you really are enforcing all the rules into the game. They do make it as easy as possible, I think, for people, but you do need some I'd say relatively strong coding skills in sort of web stuff, PHP, JavaScript, SQL. That's the sort of main sort of technologies that Board Game Arena runs on. But to get to this point, I'm very happy with, because it's the fun bits now. I've gone through that sort of steep learning curve to understand how you actually do anything with Board Game Arena. So how do you actually get the seeds of a game to work? So the sort of the rule based stuff for an individual game now is the sort of fun bit, in a way, working out how you restrict it.
So it's like, okay, you've done this learning curve that you didn't particularly enjoy, but now you're like, hey, I know what I can do. Now I am a god, and I'm going to enforce the rules.
Yes, that's how it feels.
Okay, so
and it's so much. It's to the point where I may not even play a game of backgammon. I might even go and play this instead, or develop this. So it's gone past the backgammon bothering to code.
So basically, what you're saying is that up until this point, let's accept that this was a thing that I asked you to do purely as a favor, because it would be really nice to see it on Board Game Arena, and still it would be amazing to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing it, as it develops. Like, maybe have you on in a few months when it's, reached the next level, and it would be really cool. Or have you on popping in one of the friendly Friday forums I'm going to start on.
Yeah, definitely. What I want to do is continue to do it now that I've got most of the code under my belt. On a frequent basis rather than letting it, because I have a memory like a sieve. I would just forget it all if I don't keep at it. Because if you're not doing this every day, it's like, oh, what was that bit of code for? Even your comments may not completely be clear enough. So yeah, it's good to, once you've got into it, to keep going.
So I was going to ask you about, how you got into it, and let's make this a whole developer diary, if you know what I mean. Let's just chat about how this whole process was. Are we able to see your code? Like, I don't expect to understand it. I don't expect anyone else to understand it, but
I can show you a bit. I'm on my Mac at the moment. I don't tend to develop too much on here, but I can see if I can get something up. And I don't even know how I share my screen at the moment, but I'm sure we can work it out.
A button on the bottom, share screen, and then if you click that, once you've already got the window up.
Cool.
So once you've got the code in a text file or whatever.
Yeah.
So you were originally inspired, right, by when I had Norbert on. And Norbert had done the Flaming Pyramids, which I played briefly with Xate. That's an interesting enough game. And you and I believe Alex were both inspired to potentially code something, because you and Alex are the programming people in this chat, it seems. And why did you do it? Why did you want to do it? Was it just curiosity?
Yes, absolutely. It's like, how on earth do you put a game onto Board Game Arena? I've done a bit of Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator. Much easier than something like this. So I was intrigued. I have some, experience of web development. So I thought, yeah, I could take it on. And yeah, it'd be fun. And, and I could imagine doing, once I've got it up to a strong level, I could imagine doing it for more LDEC games and other games. I think it's a lovely way. And because I've spent so much time and I've done it, without having to pay anything, to use the Board Game Arena platform to play games, and I think certainly in the last 6 months, it's been a godsend to many people who can, test and try out new games, play them. But, why couldn't I put a bit of effort into learning it and adding to this wonderful...
So it's like your way of almost giving back.
Absolutely. Let's see
hello,
what share...
Guard, lovely to see you.
Share screen looks like.
Just talking about...
I'd like to record this computer to open system preferences. Okay, can you see my screen yet?
No, it should appear below as a thing that I can personally add. Still waiting on your screen, Alan.
It's saying it's gone through my, let me put my password in. It's gone through my privacy settings.
Alex has a tiny bit of HTML, JavaScript, and VBasic. Virtual Basic? Is that Virtual Basic? How steep a learning curve would it be, do you think? Whoa. I think Alan Outten, Visual Basic. Okay, so I'll wait for Alan Outten, because I am not the person to answer any of these programming questions. I can talk about Alphabetickell. I can talk about Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia. Tabletopia is easier to set up than Tabletop Simulator. And I think it's inevitable that whenever you get some sort of rules enforcement, that's going to add more difficulty. And so, yeah.
Sorry, no, my Mac wanted me to quit Chrome so that you could then share screen, I think.
Huh. Yeah, we've just been talking about Visual Basic, which I have no idea about. And so I said, oh, there we go. I can see your screen. You're sharing the entire...
So this is one of about 9 key files that you need to produce for a game on Board Game Arena. this is a very simple one. It's the material.inc.php file. And this was basically everything you need to define the L deck. So it's 3 arrays. The first one tells you the order of the letters, the top letter in the L deck. Second one is the bottom letter. The third one, which I don't know how much I will use, be interested in your input, is how many of each of the different letters there are in the L deck. So it might come in as a tooltip or something useful, either with Alphabetickell, maybe with another L deck game in the future. But that's basically everything you need to define a game. The only time at the moment I'm using that is you can see in the sort of the actions area which cards someone has chosen. If you saw that on the right-hand side when we were playing the game. So that's one file. Another one which I think is really interesting to look at is what's called the states.inc.php file. And when that comes up, which is slightly slow at the moment, Board Game Arena gives you a lot of help through comments for each of the files. So when you create a new game, it basically starts off with a sort of templated area, and you get a very, nothing really of any interest, but the game will run. It doesn't do anything, but the files are basically very simple templated files with a lot of comments in there to give you advice on how to structure a game.
Okay, so all these comments were something that you were supplied with as guidance? In
the ones you're looking at the moment, yes. So it gives you some ideas on how to do it. What I really like about how they've done it is what they call the states machine implementation. And basically it makes you really think logically about how your game works, how you all the different stages of a game. So with Alphabetickell, you can think of it, and this is a nice little task where you would write down, well, this is one stage, or this is one state, which in Alphabetickell, the first thing you need to do is to choose 3 cards. So you need and in Board Game Arena, you could choose your card at the same time that other players are choosing their card. So it's not a turn-based. So it's in Board Game Arena's world, it's the multiplayer stage. So it only moves on to the next stage or state after everyone has made a selection. So you define it as a multiplayer stage, and then your little bit of code here tells you where you would then go to after that stage has been completed. So in this one, there's 2 other main states that we see a lot in Board Game Arena. The first one is the turn-based one, where someone is doing something. The active player, as they're known as, has to make a selection or do something before it moves on to the next player. Then the other third and final type of state you get is called the game state, and that's where the Board Game Arena is doing its own little bit of automation, working something out, doing the bit that works out who the next player is. If it has to move out of that whole bit into, say, with Alphabetickell, the thing would be when you end a round. So when 4 cards have been passed and your scores haven't gone above the 25, 26 limit, that it will decide or choose whether you go back into the take 3 cards and make a selection, or whether you finish the game. So I think it's a really nice, clever, simple way in which you can structure and think about a game. So that very sort of high level thinking is, I think, really...
So it makes some high level assumptions about the nature of a game. But so there's going to be some sorts of games, like real-time games, that just cannot be performed on Board Game Arena. But fundamentally, Board Game Arena, it's not for everything. And that's just the nature of any digital implementation of any platform. I mean, the L deck, it's not for everything. It's a terrible, game systems are terrible in general if you want a highly thematic game. Because if you want a highly thematic game, it kind of goes against the nature of a game system where the components have to be somewhat generic, if you know what I mean. And obviously, I think game systems are great because, you know, I'm clearly biased. Yeah, but I also love traditional playing cards, how you can play all these new games. But by the same token, you could almost consider Board Game Arena to be something of a game system. And there's, you know, a restriction on what can be brought in, but within that, it's making it easier for you to bring in these turn-based, make decisions kinds of games.
Yeah, and Alphabetickell is a really lovely game to develop first because it has all of the different types of states, the multiplayer stage and the turn-based stage in one game. Which, you know, things like chess, Go don't have that. They just have a turn-based right from the beginning. So it's nice that you can play and develop and understand all of these different states in one go. Thank you, Jess.
So, how many hours of work have gone into learning and understanding and everything up until now, would you say?
To be honest, I hadn't got very far up until about 8, 9 o'clock yesterday. And I worked till 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'd played and
7 hours.
So I reckon with my knowledge now, if you asked me to do this, I could probably do it in about 2-3 hours. So, but of course you've got to get that learning curve bit under your belt. So there's probably, depends on how good your coding is. So you know, how much you can look at this and think, okay, I understand what's going on. Or, you know, these are quite simple files, the two I've shown you. They get more complicated. But yeah, I would say, don't know, a good 2-3 days of playing, understanding, working how you easily break it. And I've broken it many, many times, up until the point where you start to understand all the little, there's quite a few bits, quite a lot of the files have to work in tandem. So you've got things that are presenting stuff on the screen as well as going to the server side, and the server side is the bit that allows you to communicate across different numbers of people playing. So you've got to be able to communicate when an action's happened, and they have to work correctly in tandem with each other. So that was I think that's one of the steeper learning curves of Board Game Arena. But yeah, once you've got it under your belt, I can imagine, you know, Alphabetickell as a card-based game is one of the easier types of games to develop for with Board Game Arena. I can imagine, you know, well, you can think of all the other games that have lots of pieces moving around that would be a lot more challenging. But they have a lot of good tutorials. You have a tutorial for sort of Go version for Hearts, so you can sort of go through. They're not massively perfect, and that they sort of miss out quite a lot of stages, so you're sort of having to work it out for yourself. But I think they've done a really good attempt at making it accessible to a programmer, a coder, developer to work out how you do implement a game.
That is really impressive. And I mean, I don't know, have you heard about the new show that I'm starting at 10 AM on a Friday?
I saw something come up. Yeah,
it's the Friendly Friday forum. That's what I called it. So basically, there's going to be a few more Fridays this year where there's stuff planned, basically because Jonathan from Australia, we'd kind of planned that, and we'll do a few more things, see if that works out. But I'm wanting to basically make Friday a day where it's not going to be 15 minutes this year, but, you know, if one day I were to go back to being able to playtest at the Royal Festival Hall, then that would be the case where, okay, it's a very quick thing. But my intention is that just now, because, you know, lockdown is still a thing, it's likely to still be a thing in 4 months, frankly, which is incredibly sad, but there we go. You know, it feels like, okay, let's just have one day that's maybe just, you know, not actually talking about anything, just kind of checking in on everyone. I mean, like, okay, this is the weekly forum, and let's just chat about stuff. And maybe, and I was going to just basically pop up the StreamYard link, and on Fridays, anyone whose face I recognize would be allowed into the chat.
Great.
So, yeah,
well, let's do that so that, you know, I can give a little update on a weekly basis and show you, you know, what's changed.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So, like, I don't know if 2 days' time would be too early for you, but then on the 13th and basically every Friday after then.
Let's go. What? Are you doing it every Friday?
I'm not doing it on the 6th or 20th because those are for Jonathan. But except for that, it's every Friday from.
There's the one, not this Friday, but next Friday you're doing.
13th, I am doing it.
Oh, so there's one between this Friday and the 6th.
This Friday is 30th. Next Friday is the 6th.
This Friday is the 23rd. Oh
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come on the 30th if that's available.
That's my kind of bad planning. Sorry, I'm looking at my
I only know the date
now.
because it's my son's birthday.
No, I've got the Friendly Friday forums as 23rd, 13th. I'm just going to paste it in and make it happen now because I had a TBC, but.
But you're saying the 30th is not one of the Fridays?
Yes, basically it's just, yeah, it's going to be something that starts coming up. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. I kind of went a wee bit ahead.
Well, whenever it is, but I won't do this Friday, but definitely the next one I'll do. I'm
sorry, Xate. It's basically the next couple of months. It's all chaotic. I'm having potentially Dina and Jonathan from Australia and possibly Paul Grogan, although Paul's like got a question mark. They're not entirely sure. But every Friday, once by the end of November, it's going to be literally every Friday. There's not going to be any strict schedule. There's not going to be any main topic. It's just going to be everyone who wants can come on and jump in. And so, yeah, Jay Foolsguard, because I recognize your name at least, if you came on and you said, oh, I'm Jay Foolsguard, I would like to jump in for 5 minutes, yeah, you would be welcome because you're a regular. I know who you are to some extent, you know what I mean? If Axe Person 219 comes on, then I'm going to say, hey, I don't know who you are. So, yeah. But on basically, it's literally every Friday from the end of November. Yeah, every week of Friday will happen. Yeah. And it's jump in, jump on, jump out. Get up, get down, jump around, get, yeah, exactly. jump up, and get down. Okay. Anyway, so sorry about that brief confusion. So we were talking about how you started this. We talked about there's been 2 or 3 days kind of getting into it. You showed a bit of the code. And now can we talk a little bit about what the next stages are? So if we carried on through this, would the deck actually run out?
Well, if you carry at the moment, you were to carry on, it will go onto a second line for each person.
Could we just randomly click?
Hold on, I need to go back in. Get up another window.
And so, My question was more, once all 48 cards have come out, then what happens?
Don't know, I've never gone that far.
Well, let's find out.
I imagine it'll break, but you never know.
Yeah, let's break it.
Okay, let me
Is
get
that not
into the
what
game.
programming is all about?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's definitely break it now rather than when it goes alpha or beta. So we're in a pre-alpha stage at the moment. So we're going to keep going right.
I'm going left.
Well, okay, right. So he gets there first. Oh, I think.
Well, I mean, clearly you, because I passed a few times. And you've got the little board game arena noises. I'm just going to unplug.
You have I don't think you have much choice on those. You could always make the screen smaller.
I just like this. So are these? So do you get to limit the number of noises that you're allowed to use, and you need to trigger them somehow?
I have not seen any code that gives you choice on noises. So I think they're absolutely fixed by default. Have you heard any different noises on different games?
Never.
No, I've never seen anything. What I can do for, say, visually, is I can change the margins between cards, including making them negative, so you can start to overlap cards. So I know that's possible.
So it's kind of just a noise for when you click a button to show that something has happened or something has moved.
Yeah. Oh,
wait, because you got 26.
Oh, what did happened? I win? I think I won. Something won.
How did you win?
I don't know. I've never got that far before.
30. Wait, did you have 30 cards?
You got plus 30. I can see that. Your DRO won.
Oh wait, I won.
Seems so. Don't know how.
Why did I win? That's crazy. So was it basically you didn't have any code to evaluate the winner, and it just?
There's a basic bit of scoring code in there, but I haven't done anything to update it in terms of how you add your line size to it. So I think it would score it whatever you do. So maybe it's because it was your first game, or well, I don't know. I've used DRO1 a lot as well, but I use DRO0 99% of the time. So maybe something there. It has its own inbuilt way of working out. So
how are you playing this normally? Do you have it on 2 separate computers to play against yourself?
So what you can do is, no, you can, if I start a new match, game even. So if you've got enough screen space, yes, you could have 2 browsers and you keep moving between them. Seems to be a bit slow at the moment on Board Game Arena. Let's see, let me quit.
And that's what Alan's seeing.
Let me just.
And
anyway, let's go into this one, which has already started.
Still on this version. Oh wait. Oh.
I'm gonna just. If you go into the game, can you see your DRO1? Oh no, that's me. That's you, or the other player. If I click on this little red arrow, it opens up another browser tab in which I'm the other player. So I can easily switch between 2 players. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can be as many. At the moment, I've fixed this version of Alphabetickell to just 2 players, but at any point I could open it up to between 2 and 5. But 2 seems, it's the easiest thing for me to
test with.
And
hopefully once you've got, I mean, there's definitely dynamics at 3 players which won't be present in 2 players, if you know what I mean, regarding the passing of the cards.
But the cards get just passed back into the discard pile. You don't pass them to other players.
You do. Like, if you say, I'm not going to take this card, the rule is that...
Oh, yeah, the next person in the line gets to see that card.
The next person gets to see it.
So the only difference is that once everyone has had a chance to take or pass on the card, then it will move once everyone has passed on it once, it will move it into the, what do you call it, the discard pile, or do you have a name for it?
I think I just call it the discard pile.
Yeah, even though you sort of spread them out. So you
can and once 4 of them are gone, then that's the end of the game.
Yeah. So at the moment, my version, it says passed cards up to 4 cards. That's the heading.
Yeah, that.
But we can work on
there's a lot of cards. I mean, if one person passes a card, then technically it's a passed card, but it doesn't get discarded.
Yes.
So discard seems a bit more appropriate.
Yeah, definitely. Well, these are super easy things to change and to test out.
Oh, yeah, these kinds of words. I imagine it's just changing a bit of text.
Just a heading. So that will be... So going back to your question of... I think the next thing I will do is the passed cards bit. So you start to see the cards there. And I've already got the bit of code for doing the initial hand. And that works differently in that, as I mentioned before, everyone can select 1 card from the 3 options at the same time. But also you use your mouse to click over the card. So you can see here I can select cards at random. But when you do that, you can change the card. So if I haven't got that bit of code here, and I probably would want a thicker red border on it to show that you've selected it. If you selected it, and before everyone else has made their selection, you should be allowed to change your mind. Now, you could say, well, maybe that's not correct, but that's how it's done in other board game arena games, if that makes sense. So everyone has the chance to change their mind up until the point where everyone has made a selection. At that point, everyone's selected cards will go from their hand area up here into their line. Then you start playing the turn-based version. So those are the 2 obvious things that are to work on next before I think we get into the sort of finer detail of how we present things.
It's really interesting that you talk about being able to change the card that you choose until everyone else has chosen. Because, so this is my screen where, yeah, you can definitely see that red line. It is a little bit thin, but hey-ho.
Yeah, but it's easy.
And probably want to have like just 1 visible but having things work similar to your expectations is, going to just make the game easier to play. And so if people who are playing this are already familiar with other games on Board Game Arena, then you absolutely need to have it, tie into the expectations, and it's all contextual. To some extent, I've kind of already appreciated this within the L deck because it has become its own little bit of an ecosystem. And I'm starting to realize, okay, if some games work this way, then if a game works a slightly different way, there needs to be a really good reason for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That if it's like, okay, let's say it was 5% better if you do it an alternative way. Well, even if it's 5% better, well, arguably, maybe I should just leave it the same way that every other L deck uses the cards and say, okay, if in this game, making words the normal mickle, muckle, cuphole way is 5% worse than an alternative rule set where you say you're able to do things in a slightly different way, then it feels like, okay, well, maybe stick to the basic. Whereas if it's like, 20% better, then obviously, okay, you make that difference. But it needs to be really considered, any change that you make.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing is having it like this is that, and we've got the Alphabetickell Facebook group. So, you know, once we start getting into testing and getting lots of input, you know, people, I'm sure, will be able to do that. And, you know, we can get a good sense of what could be updated and adapted or kept. I'm just showing on this page, this is the My Hand with 3 cards. So again, I haven't got this implemented, but this is what and it would be a smaller area so that you've got the deck, the top card that you're going to put into your line and the discard pile. But you can see this is what the bit of code that randomly puts or shuffles. I mean, it's lovely how you just have one little bit of code that will shuffle your deck. So you don't have to do anything really clever. And you just take the top 3 and put them in a container, and you can create as many containers, such as My Hand or My Line, as you need to make the game work. That makes sense.
I'm just going to show the header of the Facebook group that I think you made me a moderator of as well. Yeah. And yeah, so you can see this is how it might look later on. Apparently stuff is very jammy at this game. EFGHIJKLMNOP.
Always happens.
Yeah, we've had some, you know, looks at what's going on, and so please, you know, sign up and let us know what you're thinking, and there will be kind of questions of, okay, which look do you prefer as time goes on, and things going on. The spinning time thing.
Is it I'm afraid there's not. You do have some choice over that player area. You can put information in there. I don't think you can get rid of the spinning clock, but the hour glass.
It's like, yeah, and there's no thing to actually play it yet. Please no. Please no. Okay, we'll get rid of that. So I think it's been a lovely chat. Yeah, it's been really exciting to see this in its first implementation. And thank you so much for all the work you've done so far. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it in a few weeks. Now, yeah, we've already, oh yeah, your biggest claim to fame was appearing on the 6 o'clock news. Do you want to talk about that at all?
No.
Okay.
Another time.
Well, yeah, we talked about Board Game Arena, we talked about technology, we talked about combining things, we talked about backgammon, we talked about programming, we talked about the fact that basically it took about 3 days and then 7 hours to actually implement this thing, but okay, if you were to do it again, it would be a couple of hours. We talked about the next steps, which is of making it so that information is passed actually between players, which is going to be a little step up, and having that, you know, original module of selecting your cards. And I'm glad that it was a relatively easy game. I thought, okay, this is a game that actually fits Board Game Arena perfectly.
Absolutely.
I didn't actually ask you about word games in general. How well do you think word games would?
Not a chance.
No chance at all.
No, I don't think there's any way. What are you going to do? I don't think there's a way of adding dictionaries. It's not going to work for, unfortunately, for the majority of LDEC games.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the next LDEC game, if it's not a word game,
yes,
then that could also be on Board Game Arena.
Definitely. More than happy to implement them.
It'd be amazing. And so, yeah, it's been a lovely chat. If you wish to find me, I'm stuffwithbez.com, stuffwithbez.bigcards.com, where you can buy my stuff, twitter.com/stuffwithbez, where I share the most, although I've not shared my recent highlights today. I should share my photos today. Instagram.com/SuffBez. I'm probably going to share a bunch of categorical letters. Twitch.tv/SuffBez. I stream every day at 10 a.m. UK time and 8 p.m. on Tuesdays. Facebook.com/FoundsByBez is still a thing. And SuffBez.com/Discord. So yeah, it's going to return in January. And I want to say Alan Outten's links. Let me paste them in once more to the Twitch. Whoops. Hopefully this is clickable. So you've got facebook.com/group/Alphabetickell on BGA and gooimp.com.
Imp.
So you don't want to share your Twitter or anything like that?
No. To be honest, I lurk on Facebook a lot. So you stick something there, you'll find me. Or I'll find you.
So basically, if you want to contact Alan, then you need to go onto the Alphabetickell on BGA thing. Maya says, why not share your Twitter?
Because I don't use it.
Alan's a lurker. And yeah, so I want to say thank you to everyone. And actually, this is like a bit of feedback from you, Alan, kind of separating those. It works so much better now. That was a really good suggestion. Thank you for that, Alan. And thank you to my favourite mods. Special love to Xates. Hope you get better soon. Thank you to everyone who's been watching along. I hope it's been somewhat interesting to see this kind of designer diary. Thank you to, just everyone and for all the lovely questions. And
thank you all.
Yeah. And thank you mostly to Alan Outten for coming along, sharing this, giving me feedback. I didn't include that in recap on my own design contests. It's definitely between the end of this one and the start of the next one. I will be pondering it. And so come back to chat. Alan, we miss you.
I'll be back. It's been a busy few weeks, but the project I was working on has finished now. So,
yeah. So I want to say to everyone, over to you. What are you up to? You can share only if you want to. Is there something you're looking forward to? Hopes or ambitions? Share anything that you want, whether it's exciting or trivial or important or just fun. Share whatever you want. And I'm excited to go, and I might make a little face at Chris. I might waggle my eyebrows, and then Chris has been warned, so Chris is in chat, so that's not going to be fun. Anyway, if anything that I say I'm going to do to kind of try to provoke a reaction, Chris is going to hear about it right now. But it's going to be lovely working with them and being extra productive today because it's the two of us and I kind of get them to do stuff and then they do it and then other working I do stuff, and yeah, it's really nice. So I just want to share that that's a lovely thing. And I will probably I might get to play a little game with one of my housemates who's gone off to work and is coming back, and then they said, hey, I'd quite like to play a game with you tonight. I know that they want to play something super simple, but I've got a few of those games, and so I'm looking forward to that. Is there anything that you would like to share, Alan?
Oh, well, today it is my son's birthday, so we're going to be celebrating that. We get probably a takeaway later, and yeah, have a lovely, fun family day.
And Chris says that her eyebrows are already wiggling to preemptively wiggle their eyebrows at me. Well, I mean, this is me wiggling my eyebrows at you, Chris. But I can't see you, so it doesn't work. Jess is looking forward to napping. Jess asks, what kind of takeaway?
What takeaway are we getting? Whatever Daniel wants.
And Chris is looking forward to having a date with McCall. Going to have takeaway also and watch a film. Aww. And Xate, I'm so sorry to hear, and again, lots of hugs. Xate is not allowed dates or to go out, but yeah, our thoughts continue to be with you, and if we can all, everyone in chat, if you can give a little heart to Xate to kind of wish them more health and a speedy recovery. So, next streams, if you want to look at the thing where you go to stuffbybez.com/streams, hopefully that would show you everything, and it will take you to a page where it says you're being redirected, and then you'll see that tomorrow Maya is coming on. I need to check with them how to pronounce this name. Maya Skripel. And then I'm going to be doing a streaming on Alan Paul's channel from 1 p.m. Friendly Friday Forum, which will be the first ever one. To be a sneak preview of what we'll get in 3 weeks' time. Then, there's my youngest ever. Well, Cora is a maybe. We just want to, safety of children is paramount. So if someone's like not feeling up to it, Dan's going to come on, but Cora might not. But if Cora agrees to come on, it will be my youngest ever guest, 8 years old. They are a co-designer with Dan. So yeah, that's the thing. And yeah, clocks go back and Alex Vanity, all sorts of things. If you have enjoyed this, then please share, spread the word, tell other people about it. And yeah, is there anything going on that we want to raid? And feel free. And yeah, we've got a lot of love for Xate. So yeah. And apparently Maya Skripel is not perfect, but the best I've heard from an English-speaking person. Yes. Boom. Jess is excited about Huddersfield.
How can you be excited by Huddersfield?
Hey, what's wrong with Are you saying people should not be excited by Huddersfield?
Is that where the cafe is?
Near there.
Near there, yeah. What's the Last of the Summer Wine? Yeah, love it.
Hey, Huddersfield's a lovely place. And yeah, basically, it's not an inside joke. Dan just loves Huddersfield, and it's definitely a place. This is... Shh, don't tell everyone about the throwing up. So it was an eating challenge, okay? It was basically one of those, if you eat the entire thing, it was... So there was a double burger with like 2 burgers and lots of bacon and lots of chips, and you had to eat that twice. Like within I think it might have even been like a triple burger anyway. It was a lot. And yeah, it was free if you ate it all. Exactly. And I did manage to eat it all. But I asked for a bit more lettuce because at a point, you kind of, became a bit stodgy. You wanted something crispy to add to it. And it was like, so they gave me some extra free lettuce, which actually helps with the eating. But then afterwards, yeah, it might have been, yeah, shenanigans because of the, yeah. This is true story. Yeah, I ate it. Yep. This is true story. And yeah. Anyway, so we will talk about Huddersfield for sure on Sunday. And let me quickly check on Twitch to see what else is playing, to see if there's any cool music to recommend anyone to. Oh, Amadeus is playing again. Oh, so is Alusam. Alusam is really lovely. Both of them are lovely. Let's go with... Yes, my guests are from Huddersfield. And so I'm going to say, let's raid Amadeus. And there is only one thing left to do. Have you anything left to say, Alan?
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
bye, bye, bye. This is the bye-bye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go.
How was it?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.